From the real estate, interior design, and design and build experts at the Penzo Group comes a podcast that covers all things home. For our team, a home is so much more than the sum of its four walls. It goes beyond. A home is our sanctuary, a place to create memories, build routines, and shape our futures. Through a series of captivating conversations with guests who are industry experts in their fields, we discuss their lives, passions, and their most personal and intimate spaces, their homes. Welcome to Beyond Four Walls, where we explore the soul of living spaces and celebrate the essence of what makes a house a true home.
Hello, welcome back to Beyond Four Walls. My name is Gabrielle, and today we're switching things up a little bit. I am here in the home of Urban Blueprint co-founder Luca Penzo and his lovely wife, Olivia, who also happens to be my friend of, what are we at now?
32 years, I think, coming. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, long time.
That's incredible.
Like we've been friends since our kids' age, basically. Like they're all 3, 4, and babies. So, yeah, met in JK. Crazy.
So thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming.
Always welcome.
Today we wanted to meet in your home for a number of reasons. First of all, obviously it is a beautiful showcase of Urban Blueprint's work, but also what you guys have been through in the last few years. The transformation of the home revolves around one of the big questions a lot of young couples, young families, people in transition face in their home ownership journeys. So before we get into what's happened most recently here, you have lived in the neighborhood for a while. So tell me about your first home, how you came to live in the area, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, when we first met, we were actually both living in Scrivener Square. And then our first house was actually on Hazelwood, which is pretty close to here. It's in the neighborhood. It's a little bit further east, right near Danforth and Jones, between Pape and Jones off the Danforth. We lived there for how many years did we live there, babe? 2 years?
2 years. Yeah,
made some amazing memories there. It's actually where we got engaged. But yeah, we've loved the neighborhood, wanted to stay in the neighborhood as well.
To that house, I don't remember, what did you renovate it, or was it more cosmetic, or it's been a while?
We did do a renovation. We didn't have the means to do like a full gut renovation. So we tried to find something that we could still put our own touch on and make our own. So we did more of a full cosmetic renovation.
Call it a lipstick reno. So we did new kitchen, added a primary bathroom, new floors, painted, like easier decorating.
So
it's a little bigger than I remember, I guess.
Yeah.
It was at that house then, I guess, you fell in love with the neighborhood and decided to. So then what happened? Did you guys get married, stay in that house for a while, and then come here? I don't remember the sequence of events.
We got married in November. It's our 7-year wedding anniversary this week, actually.
That's right.
Hard to believe. Yeah,
Happy anniversary.
And then we sold the house like the following May. So we weren't even in the house that long.
Right.
And then we basically sold Hazelwood and then bought this house 3 weeks later, something like that. And then
the timing was perfect.
Yeah.
Worked out.
And then we moved in with Deb and John for 10 months, I think. And it was, almost a full year. Before we moved in here.
So the first renovation you did here, that was the really big one. Like, cause that was pretty much a full gut, right?
Yeah. It was an estate sale when we bought the house. So it was an elderly woman living here originally. And it was set up with like a kitchen on the second floor, kitchen on the first floor, just for her convenience and lifestyle. So we ended up having to completely gut the house to make the layout right for our family. And then the basement was also unfinished. So we had to underpin the basement as well from 6'4" to 8 feet ceiling heights.
And then fast forward a few years, we added a few kids into the mix.
Yeah.
And then you were expecting your third little girl. And I guess you guys were faced with the question of, do we stay and make this house work, or do we move, find something else altogether? Like, what was that?
I think originally we were thinking like, hey, this is probably going to be a 5-year house.
Yeah, like when we originally did the reno, it was everything we chose was very like safe to say that if we needed to like resale the house, we didn't want to do anything that was too avant-garde. And then when it came to the time that we were trying for our third baby, we kind of got this crossroad that we were running out of bedrooms. So we looked at a lot of houses, but to be in this neighborhood and find something that was bigger, it was either way over our budget or it just made sense to do the addition that we ended up doing.
And we kind of like contemplated the addition when we originally purchased the house and did our first reno. We just didn't really have the financial means at the times, and we didn't think that we really needed it as well.
I don't think we thought we would have 3 kids.
I think we thought that we would have been moving.
Yeah.
And then when we looked at moving, it didn't make sense. We loved the location. Our kids have friends now here. Amazing parks around for them. So it made a lot more sense to just expand.
So where we're sitting right now, just for context for everyone listening, this was a deck.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
So Luca, tell me, what did we have to do to create this?
So when you came up to the third floor, there was like a little landing area. Originally it was actually open, and I was using it as a home office at first. So when we had our second child, Georgia, we built a wall, and that became a bedroom. And then leading into this addition, we actually had to remove the entire roof of the second floor effectively at the back of the house.
Which is our primary bedroom.
Has our primary bedroom below. So that was an interesting feeling, like during construction, standing in our primary bedroom, which still had hardwood floors. It had molding on the walls, all the drywall, and we could just see up to the blue sky. So yeah, it was a bit, it was interesting. It was like we had to tent the house every day just because of rain coming. So it felt like you were in like Cirque du Soleil for a certain stage of construction.
Luca would creep the weather app like constantly, just studying to see what the radar was going to do and how much rain we were going to get.
Rain's coming tomorrow, Olivia. I'm popping by the house to see how the tarp's doing.
Oh man.
So yeah, that was interesting. But
we lucked out.
We didn't comply.
No flooding.
Like in order to achieve this amount of square footage on this property, we didn't comply with zoning bylaws. So we had to go through architectural planning, which Urban Blueprint did. We went to committee of adjustment. We had 3 variances approved. And then we went through permitting prior to starting construction.
Was that a tricky process? Like, was there a chance they wouldn't approve this stuff?
I just did another one, just a few houses up the street for a neighbor of ours. And it was a pretty similar project.
Okay.
Their footprint was actually larger than what we went for, and it was approved. So I knew going into, exactly.
Okay.
And before that application, we'd done a whole bunch of research and reviewed all the files in the neighborhood. So we knew the precedents had been set for what we were going for. We also built a garage at the back at the same time as well.
And with that, I'm assuming you had to apply for permits for that as well?
We did. However, for the garage, we were able to build that by law. There was no variances tied to the garage.
Now, from just like an emotional, practical standpoint, like you were quite pregnant during this. And then you said you could see the sky from your bedroom. So obviously you had to move out.
I think I was in denial a little bit. Like the pregnancy hormones just had me in this like la-di-da.
I think I was more nervous going into it than Olivia was.
And so we rented a house in the neighborhood.
Okay.
So we moved out April 1st and we lived there for 4 months. I had Charlotte on July 24th. We had our rental home till the 31st. And then we moved out of that and I moved up to the cottage for a month. And then we came home and the house wasn't ready yet. So we moved back in with Deb and John for a few weeks. And then we were in the house end of September. And then we're still waiting on custom furniture, which is why we're sitting on our dining room chairs.
All good.
But
Typical.
And that was my bad because I was in charge of that stuff. And definitely.
Let's be clear. The construction was only like a week or two delayed. And it took like
It was
five
it was
months
my
to do.
responsibilities that got a little delayed, but
you
I
had a
used
bit going on.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
a little preoccupied for sure.
I honestly,
gets a
like, no
pass.
joke, it's mind blowing to me that you did all of that, like with your 2 children plus being pregnant. Like, I would not have been as calm as you. So yeah, good for you.
I think
not
we
for the
like
faint
found
of
a way to
heart.
kind of compartmentalize it a little bit.
Yeah.
All of the like tasks and things that had to get done in order for this to happen. So like 6 months ago, Olivia and I decided to like have a lunch date every 2 weeks on Fridays.
Yeah,
That's nice.
Just like with kids and
Am I
stuff. it's-
taking up your lunch date time right now?
Today is actually our
actually,
schedule.
yeah.
So we're spending
we'll
it
bump
with
it
you
to next
too.
I feel honored.
But it started off just being like, hey, with kids and stuff, it's
Yeah.
like so hard to find time for date night.
Yeah.
So we figured like lunch on a Friday, this is easy. We can have
Mhm.
some alone time and we'll just block it off. And then with this renovation and addition happening, we started kind of using that time to talk about like what selections had to get
Mhm.
made and just sort of keep track of things while we were meeting every other Friday. And I think that helped just to not be like, it be like an
Overwhelmed.
ongoing thing every day
Yeah.
that we were chatting about. It was kind of like we had this time that we discussed it and then we made
Yeah.
all the decisions and we thought ahead and that made it a lot easier for us.
I think too, like because we had done a reno before,
Yeah.
it wasn't that. Well, I mean, he obviously has done reno, but
Yeah.
even for me, like we renovated our first house, we got this house,
Yeah,
so
it's
I
not
sort
your
of
first
it's not my
rodeo.
first rodeo,
and
so
you kind of live it because you see
live
me
it,
every day.
So like I spent a lot of
Mhm.
time on like Instagram home
Yeah.
pages, and you know you save what you like, and then when it comes to choosing, it's like okay, I'm gonna do this or
Mhm.
whatever. So it made selections a lot easier with your inspiration.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I mean,
Olivia's got a really good eye
Thanks.
and
She
had a lot of
does.
really good inspiration.
and it
as well.
helps too, just being exposed to the industry and knowing what's out there. Like, I think a big challenge for a lot of people is just lack of exposure. You know, you don't know what you don't know. And
Yeah, definitely.
you know, it takes going to private, for example,
Yeah.
and just looking at all the selection, which can be, I guess, overwhelming, but
Yeah.
it just,
Yeah.
you know, it opens your eyes to the
Yeah.
possibilities.
Well, then I started to find I had ideas for all the different areas. Like
Mhm.
we also, just to mention, we added another bathroom up here and another bedroom for our oldest daughter. And so I had all these ideas, but didn't know how to pull it necessarily all together. So we actually used Cynthia Ferguson.
Yeah.
And so she helped me actually pull the final touches
Nice.
and layer all the different colors and fabrics and
That's awesome.
everything.
I didn't
And
know that. That's
yeah.
great.
So she sort
Yes.
of helped. I sort of had my mind, and then she just sort of closed it all in for me. So
Olivia had been following Cynthia on Instagram for a while,
Yeah.
and then I happened to end up doing a project with
yes,
her,
and we
then
have her on the
Yeah, and
podcast.
she's
Yeah.
on the podcast.
she's
so
she's fantastic,
Yeah.
and we have a
Yeah.
really great relationship. So
That's
I connected
awesome.
them, and
I was very excited.
really well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
she's a lovely lady.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I like, apart from being very talented.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. So in terms of your selections, because you have done this a few times, because you said the first time you guys renovated the house, you erred on the side of caution. You were a bit more conservative, thinking, oh, we might only live here for a couple of years, thinking of resale, blah, blah, blah. But now you've really dug your heels and you guys are pretty committed here for a while. So you started to be a bit more adventurous. How has your style and choices evolved over years? Like, what was different this time around?
Well, I love color. I love pattern. I mean, we have 3 girls, so
Yeah.
I'm a girly girl. Like We made a man cave for Luca in the basement. So
Man cave's pretty awesome.
Oh,
I have to say.
has the man cave changed?
yes.
Yeah, it's
I haven't seen that
painted
yet.
completely blue.
Oh, cool.
It's like leaf blue.
It's pretty much like Leafs
Nice.
blue, yeah. Or
Yeah.
we're kind of a Bills family now too.
Yes,
so you could say
we're
Bills
getting
as
into
well.
the football now.
Oh, okay.
So.
All right.
But yeah, I think just introducing more color and pattern and
Mhm.
just like your home. I mean, I guess we live in this world where everybody wants everything to be so like perfect and uniform
Instagrammable.
and like, yeah, but
Yeah.
I just think like, I mean, my first floor is an absolute chaos right now,
Well,
but
you have 3 kids
Yeah,
and
so
you're
it's just
it's not
living your
practical to
life.
expect
you know, like
everything
your
to be
home is
perfect all
like
the
where you
time.
live. So you want it to just, when you walk through your door, you just want it to be an expression of who you are. So we like did a really fun wallpaper in our mudroom now, and our cabinets are painted hunter green, and we did pink tile with a blue vanity in the girls' new bathroom and polka dot wallpaper. So everything's just really fun and bold, I guess. And
Yeah.
I think it's an extension of us. Like
Definitely.
we're-
And the girls, of course.
the girls, yes, princesses always, and
But I
Well-
think maximalism is like just made a really big comeback right
Yeah.
now.
it has
Yeah.
and that like
Lots of
English
color and
vibe.
prints. And
I like to call it like grand millennial because I love my antiques. Like you're sitting in a chair that I found on Facebook Marketplace. It was in awful shape, and I had it reupholstered and the wood like
beautiful.
treated. And so I love mixing old with new too.
Yeah.
I think it helps add character to the
For sure.
home, and
Definitely.
you don't want your house to feel like a showroom.
Yeah.
So I think that's also with like a lot of pattern and colors. I think that helps it feel more unique and not so showroomy.
Yeah. Yeah, Natasha and I talked about this on the Homekin episode of the podcast, how, you know, there are a number of amazing retailers that we work with and they have great products. But if you shop only at one place, the space looks like a showroom as
Yeah.
opposed to having characters. So yeah, bringing in antiques or doing custom upholstery, wallpaper, having fun with paint, like the people watching and listening, they won't be able to see what I'm looking at, but is this
that's Capri's
Capri's
room.
room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Capri's room, you have a great wallpaper going on, but you didn't stop there. You painted the trim around the window a complementary pink, which
Yeah.
is, you know, a small detail, but makes such a difference.
Yeah. Yes, we definitely went bold with the paint. Our paint schedule
Yeah.
was, and we had the whole house repainted.
Okay.
And then because the girls were getting their rooms redone, I wanted to do our room again.
Yeah.
And then we wallpapered the dining room now, and I'm waiting on drapes for our living room. So we basically decided that since we were staying here,
Yeah,
we did
just to go for
redecorate.
it.
I think it was
just
really
to go
important for us
it.
too to make sure like we had real definitions for each like room. There was like defining elements that
Yeah.
separated the rooms
Yeah.
for us.
But then I think
And
there's
that-
still such a flow too.
There is flow,
Well,
yeah.
I
But
was
there's
just going to
definitely
say
like
that-
a lot of different.
Yeah.
Like, although
colors
each girl's
from room to room and-
is different in terms of the color scheme or what have you, they
The few
are
themes that
cohesive
tie them together, yeah.
still.
Yeah.
Like, it's not random
Yeah.
room to room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of the girls' rooms, I remember at one point when all of this was going on, you said you had color schemes for each of the girls' rooms. So take me through that since
Yeah.
they can't see.
Yes. So Capri's room is pink and green, and George's room is blue and pink, and then Charlotte's room is like a lilac purple.
Nice.
And she's got like a Missoni rainbow rug in her room. So, which was actually, so she's in the original nursery, which was Capri's old room. So that was the rug that was in there. And now we've just played on, it used to be pink, the room, when it
Mhm.
was Capri's. And then we've redecorated it now to make it new for Charlotte. And
Yeah. She happily gave it up when she saw her.
yeah,
new room,
it's
too.
funny. Like we were a bit worried when we moved back in if Capri was going to be like, this is my room. But
Yeah.
we made it such a big thing for her big girl room and to
Mhm.
move. She like,
Yeah. Well, when
she doesn't even go in the old room. It's
Yeah.
like chopped liver. So
we like brought her to see it, different phases of
Yeah, yeah,
construction,
yeah.
and just kind of
You amped
hyped
it
it up.
up.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I found that was the key when we moved Jackson out of his room to accommodate the baby,
Yeah.
we had to really amp up. This is the big boy room,
Yeah.
and you've got new wallpaper.
Definitely the way to go.
Not that he cares much about wallpaper, but you hype it up.
Yeah. So no, it was an easy transition for them. And I mean, Georgia was only, I don't know, I guess 15 or 16 months when we moved out. So she was still like a baby.
Yeah.
And then coming home now, she's 2. And I feel like it was like, oh, I'm home. Like she just knew where things were. And they even like Capri, like we have a snack drawer in the kitchen. And it was like no time had passed. They knew right where to go and do everything. They knew where all their toys were. So it was like.
It definitely took a minute though to get them to sleep in their rooms.
Yeah. They're still in our bed most nights. But
yeah, the first
that's
couple
a
weeks
different,
was like.
that's a different complex. We have to
Yeah, I'll take it though.
And now a quick break to mention our sponsors at Urban Blueprint. Urban Blueprint is a full-service design and build firm specializing in architectural planning, construction, project management, and interior design. Whether you're looking to renovate, extend, or start from scratch with a new build, the design and build experts offer a seamless approach that will take you from initial plans straight through to finishing touches. Visit urbanblueprint.com to schedule a complimentary consultation to discuss your project. Urban Blueprint, the intersection of heart and home. And now let's get back to the episode. So going back to just the dilemma of staying, renovating, moving to other families that are growing or young couples that are, facing the same dilemma, what are the big factors, would you say, that are important to take into account when making that decision? What is it about? Yeah, I guess, what are the big factors?
I'd say financially, just know your numbers and weigh all the different options just to make sure you're not stretching yourself and spreading it too thin going into whatever you end up taking on, whether it's a project or moving homes. I'd say that's really step one, just trying to make the right decision.
I think planning
is huge.
Kids,
talk to professionals.
I think going into a rental for the time that we did, I think helped a lot because it was still us as a family and it was in the neighborhood. So the girls' day to day didn't really change that much. And the house we were renting was really close to the park. So when we go to the park now, they're like, oh, there's the rental house. And so I feel like
their lifestyle didn't change really throughout the process too much because the rental was like a block away.
So I think that's also a big thing is just trying to keep your day to day with your kids as similar as possible.
That helped, yeah.
Because then if they're calm, you'll be calm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What was it about the neighborhood specifically that kept you here? I mean, you've mentioned the parks, the community your kids have.
Yeah, we just we love it. We find it convenient to everything.
Yeah, it's easy to get everywhere in the city, I find, too. Yeah. Easy to get on the highway, easy to get downtown.
Yeah,
pretty
and
quick
we're
to
in
get
Riverdale.
uptown.
I don't know if we
I don't know.
I don't even know if we said what area we're in.
Yeah.
So we're in Riverdale, Greek Town. I mean, the office is in Leslieville. So for Luca, he's
for work,
10
it's
minutes
close,
to work.
Yeah.
We're 10 minutes to the girls' school. And we really like it here.
So you guys moved out or started the process in the spring, which I guess was nice for you having, a warm, nice season to be kicked out of your house. But beyond that, it seemed like it was a pretty efficient process because you moved out in spring and then you moved back in when?
End of September.
Right. So
it was we were out of the house. Original plan was to be out, I think. We knew it was going to take at least 4 months. And we had the rental for 4 months.
Okay.
It ended up we had to be out for 5. But Olivia ended up going up to the cottage for the month of August.
But
that worked out perfectly.
Well, our original target though was to be in the house for Labor Day.
Yeah, we were only really a couple weeks behind schedule, really.
So what did it take to stick to that?
It was an aggressive schedule to begin with, too, really. But really, it just took. It all comes down to planning, proper planning up front. and having realistic timelines going into it and making as many decisions as possible before you actually start construction. So first step, obviously, we went through all the architectural planning and we ironed out the layout together really well. Just at home here while we were living at the house, just working on the plans when we could. Then going through committee of adjustment was pretty smooth. We obtained letters of support from neighbors. We had no opposition show up. So the hearing went really smoothly, and ultimately all the committee members were on board and all our variances were approved. And then there's just like a 2-week appeal period after committee. There was no appeals set. So then we were able to apply for the building permit, which takes 3 weeks, and then ultimately start construction. We started the garage before we moved out, if I'm not mistaken, though.
Yeah,
right?
I think they started digging a week or two before we actually moved out.
Yeah.
So we bought parking permits for the street. It didn't really affect us though that much.
Yeah. So the reason we started the garage first was to try and get a jump on time and get the foundation of the garage done while we were living here, just because there was no reason for us to move out while we were working on the foundation of the garage. So once the foundation of the garage was poured, then we moved out. We did the demolition, demolition goes really fast, like 3 days. And then we were able to start framing. And then as soon as the framers framed the third floor, they jumped on the garage, framed that. But really the most important part is really creating the project schedule, identifying everything that you need to pick for all of the selections and finishes,
So
and
what
setting
kind of
deadlines
things
for
are
that.
on that schedule?
Every single like resource that goes into the project and trade.
Okay, so construction stuff and
Material deliveries, building inspections that are required, finish
like
selection
paint-
timelines, paint schedules when they need to be ready.
tiling.
So
I
pretty
guess.
much-
Yeah, like I had a calendar and it would send me notifications like confirm tile by this date, or so I had to do everything. So that probably helped it.
Yeah, you try and plan everything, and obviously it's a renovation, so it's never a straight line.
Sure.
But you try and make it as straight as you possibly can going into it, really.
Did you learn anything from the initial gut renovation that you factored in this time around, or things you did differently as a result?
The one challenge I would say was like that was because we added a bathroom up here, and there's
Right.
always like plumbing requirements around that. We need to add drains, stacks, water lines. So one of the things we did though when we did the initial renovation, kind of thinking that we might be adding a bathroom, was we created like a coffer ceiling in our dining room, which was empty. So it's kind of like a fake bulkhead, but it also was a ceiling design. And ultimately that ended up being the location that we ended up using to run our plumbing down from the third floor. So we knew that was there. It was empty space. So we didn't have any hiccups really on the first or second floor, as far as like needing to open up too many walls or create any new bulkheads at all. But I'd say if you're thinking that you're going to do something in the future, it's really good to, even if you don't know when it is, kind of have a master plan for it.
Yeah, actually, Cynthia Ferguson, in my chat with her, she touched upon the same thing that, with her clients, even if it is just one room or just say the main floor, but there's potential future for additional renovations or redecoration. She plans for that as much as possible behind the walls, and
definitely. Yeah.
Which is,
it's important to consider those things for sure.
So Luca, you've been on the podcast a few times, so I'm not going to bother you with these questions. We've heard your answers, but Olivia, I want to ask you the two questions that we always ask everybody. First of all, what does home mean to you? And second of all, what is your favorite room or space in your home and why?
Okay. Well, home to me is my family and like love. It's just, we make so many memories here. We're like a really close-knit family. We like to spend our weekends together. We have dinner every night as a family. So just being here with our kids and You're okay, I guess. But it's just being like happy in a home and love and family. And my favorite room in our house is probably our primary bedroom. I think
I'm laughing. Spends a lot of time in there.
I've pretty much been pregnant or breastfeeding with a newborn for the last like 4 or 5 years.
So you
I
spent
spent
a lot of quality time
there, and it's comfortable and it's cozy and it's just like a safe place if I need quiet. And we just did some redecorating in there. So
it's your sanctuary.
It's my sanctuary. So I love our primary bedroom.
Yeah.
It's really relaxing.
Well, thank you so much for having me again. It's been fun to hang out with you guys in your new space. And
Yeah, thanks, Gabrielle.
Hopefully next time we'll have some furniture.
I look forward to seeing it.
I think next week.
Yeah, hopefully.
Awesome. We'll see it soon on Instagram, if not in person.
Yeah, for sure.